Hey everybody, it's Mark here again with ExoticCar PlayPlace. Today I'm going to have a little different discussion, and we're going to be talking about the value of the BMW E60 M5 and not just the price that you buy these cars for today. And I've talked about the pricing that you can buy 2006s and 7s and 8s, how much you can get those cars for, and I will be doing a market update on those cars very shortly. But today, really, I want to talk about the value, not the price. Because there's a difference in my mind, not just the price. Price and value can be two totally different things. You see, something can cost so much money, but it may not be worth that. The value may not be there. And so cost and value can be two totally different things. And so today, guys, before I get started on this quick discussion, I just want to put a shout out, guys, gals, everybody who's been following me on the videos that I've previously been posting. I really want to put a shout out, guys. I couldn't do any of this without you guys. Truly, if you were to talk to me 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have dreamed that I'd be in a position where I'm filming and I'm making videos, I'm being creative, sharing with you guys my experiences, and really enjoying immersing myself in the supercar and just car genre in general. I really have always been a car enthusiast. I really have, from as young and as far back as I can remember. And because of you guys out there, you guys have really made this all possible. Because of the popularity that I've gained and the growth of my channel, it really does encourage me to keep on going. And to be honest, I love this. I enjoy doing it. I love sharing with you guys my experiences. So I just wanted to say that much. Thanks again, everybody. Now, moving right along, we're talking about the BMW E60 value. And when I talk about the value, I'm really referring to what is that car really worth in your mind? Do you feel good about the purchase when you buy an E60 M5? Well, just look at modern day BMWs today. I've been shopping recently, and I'm going to talk about some other stuff on the BMW M3s and M4s coming up. I have done some previous reviews on those cars, but I'm going to kind of hone in on some of this stuff. Now, as all of you guys know, most of you probably know, BMW has a kind of the sequence, the hierarchy of their cars. You know, they have 1 Series, 2 Series, 3 Series, 4 Series, 5, 6, 7, soon to be 8 Series and possibly beyond, okay? So as you start in the lower ranges, the 1 Series, the 2 Series, those are more the entry-level cars that BMW produces. And as you move up the range, the 3 and the 4 Series, they become a little more upscale, but still kind of a mid-level BMW. And then, of course, you move into the 5 Series, that's sort of entry-level executive and beyond. And then the 7 Series, obviously, that's top executive-level car. Generally not that popular with the young people, but certainly it's an option for those that really want to be pampered. So obviously you would expect the lower level cars to be costing much less typically than the top end cars. And that's entirely true in the BMW lineup. Where the value of the M5 comes in my opinion, is now my car cost, the E60 M5 cost, when it was new, we're talking in Canadian funds here, cost about $120,000 plus extras. Okay, my car ended up costing it was about $135,000 by the time they had a bunch of the extras put into it. But the point is, you could pretty much get the car well outfitted for about $120K Canadian dollars, possibly even less. You know, truth be told, there was probably deals to be had along the way, and you could get the car even for a little bit less money than that, which was a lot of money back in 06, 07, 08. It definitely was a lot of money. It's still a lot of money today. It's a lot of money by any standards. But the point what I'm trying to make is that car was $120,000 plus in the day. Today you can find one of those cars for anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 and up to $40,000 gets you a really premium clean car, a used one with relatively low kilometers. Now you look at the percentage, the depreciation on that is pretty significant, okay? And so to own that car, even though it might be out of warranty or possibly you've got an extended warranty, to own that car now with a few kilometers on it, that's a huge amount of car for your money. And you really do feel good about driving that car. That car feels like a $120,000 car. An M5 feels all of that. It really feels substantial. It's large, it's spacious. It has all the amenities from the sunroofs and the heated everything and the leather power seats and the full control through the iDrive system. Of course, where what really matters, of course, is the 500 horsepower that's available on tap. Now, where I look at how that is so much value, you compare that to other cars that are on the market. Porsche is kind of their own niche, and so they're a tough one to compare with, but I'll compare anyway for nonetheless. I'll give you some examples. I came across some prices lately. How about a brand new 2017 or 18 Porsche Boxster S with the PDK transmission for $105,000? This is a Boxster, my guy. This is a Boxster. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, they've got great driving dynamics, but they are the entry-level Porsche. Okay, moving right along. How about a 911? You get into a base Carrera for about $120,000 Canadian, 120 to 130,000. Base Carrera, okay? That's under 400 horsepower, okay? That's what you get in a Porsche world. If you want 420 horsepower, you have to step up to a Carrera S, and that now costs you about 160,000, 150 to 60 in that range. And I've seen lots of those in that price range here in Canadian funds. So now you talk about 420 horse compared to the BMW's 500 horse. It doesn't really seem like great value, does it? Sure, the Porsche is a totally different car, different dynamics. It's a different animal, but that's just the comparison I'm going to make today. How about the cars from BMW? That's a better comparison, and let's talk about that for a second. I was out shopping recently for a BMW M4. Also looked at some M3s. You talk about taking a serious hit in depreciation. Go look at an M4 for a second. So when I was out shopping on the weekend, I almost fell over, guys. $115,000 for a brand new M4. $115,000. Boy, I'll tell you, back in the late 2000s when my M5 was new and current, an M3 at that time was only about $65,000 to $70,000 Canadian. Where has this price gone, guys? I get the appreciation. I get R&D and technology and the improvements over the years. And of course the M3 and the M4 are really, of course, the same chassis and drivetrain. But of course they're a better car today than they've ever been. They're faster, they're more refined, more techies. They're actually arguably even more fun to drive. But the new BMWs have around 420 horsepower with an M3 and an M4. And when you step out of the E60 M5, that feels substantial, you feel like a king in the throne. You move on into the M4 or the M3, feels very taut. It's a beautiful car, but it does feel more cramped. You feel more, more compressed in the space, which, yeah, it's a sporty feel, but you really have stepped back. So you've stepped from substantial car down to kind of the mid-level car for the same money. And we're talking new to new, of course, right? We won't even talk about the fact that I can get a nice M5 today for about 30 grand versus $115,000 for an M4. I almost fell over, guys. I'm not sure I see the value. Now, that being said, the M4 I drove really, really did light up a smile on my face. It was a lot of fun to drive. It is a spectacular car. I just have to say that it's not a $115,000 car to me. In terms of value, it costs $115,000, but its value doesn't suggest it should be worth $115,000. To me, that's probably more like about, a $70,000 car. And the reason I say the $70,000 car, where am I shooting off the hip? Am I just kind of coming up with some numbers? Well, I've also driven a car recently, the Audi RS TT, and I've got a review of that, and you can, if you visit my channel, you'll find that review I've created for that car. But the TT RS was arguably almost more fun to drive than the M4. And I compared the twin clutch transmission in both of them. The TT I drove with the twin clutch. I literally drove the M4 back to back. Within a 20-minute time frame, I drove an M4 with the twin clutch transmission as well. Now, they're a little bit different power bands. Yes, the BMW feels a little bit torque here at the bottom. The TT feels like it's deceiving. It comes on very quickly, less torque, but it's equally and possibly faster accelerating than the M4. It actually really sneaks up on you. But that's a car that's worth, really, that Audi TT RS is worth about $75,000 brand new, or 80 grand, in around that range. So to me, a car that they both come out of Germany. They're both very techy. One's got a 5-cylinder turbo and the other one's got a 6-cylinder turbo. But they're both very well built by German car manufacturers. They're both brand new. They both have very similar horsepower numbers because the TT's over 400 horsepower as well. I don't see where BMW comes and produces the price tag that they produce for the M3 and the M4. I just think they're way out there, guys. Awesome cars, wonderful cars. I may even buy one at some point. Not for $115,000 though. And that again comes back to the E60, guys. Here we are, 420 horse in the M4 versus 500 in the M5. You know, I mean, I don't have to be a mathematician to do the crunch the numbers and say we're still talking about the M5, which is probably one of the best Bahn burners of all time, one of the best supercar sedans that have come out of Germany at any time. And to be quite frank, everybody, that is where the value is. It's the value. It's not the price. The fact that you can buy an M5 for 30 grand now, and even at 130, it was in line with a modern M3 or M4. It's just the value is more value there. 500 horse versus 420 horse, larger car, more substantial. It had almost as much techie, certainly as much tech going for it in the day as the other stuff does today. So that, guys, I hope you really got something out of this. I'm really promoting the E60 M5. Why? We're not talking about reliability and things like that. I think with every supercar, you have to expect a certain level of unreliability, unfortunately. But I gotta say, in terms of value, bang for your buck, and smile factor, the E60 M5 has it wrapped in the bag, guys. The M3, the M4, awesome cars. Maybe I'll wait for them to come down in price a little bit, pick one up slightly used. Because I did like the drive, I love the experience. I just don't think the value is there at $115,000. I think they've started to price themselves out of the market a little bit, to be quite frank. Like I said, if they price that back 30 grand lower, I think we'd be talking. We'd be where we should be for that car. So everybody, I just want to wrap this up and say I do really appreciate you stopping by. And again, you know what? I couldn't do any of this without you guys. I really do appreciate you guys, my fans, my followers, my subscribers. Really do coming back, watching me video after video. Obviously, I produce a lot of stuff on BMW, a lot of stuff on Lambos, Ferraris. That's what I do. That's what I love. That's what I've always loved. So if you love it as much as I do, you make sure you hit the subscribe button below, guys, gals. And we'll talk to you on the next one, which is coming up real soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.